Hello students, from this session let us start with chapter 2 of unit 2 in software engineering, which is about the requirements engineering. In this session I'll be talking about the introduction to what exactly do we mean by requirements engineering process, and we will be talking about the first method under it, which is called as the feasibility study. So let's understand what exactly is this requirements engineering. So it's basically sequence of steps that are involved to understand and gather the requirements from the customers and the stakeholders. So we will be gathering the requirements, we will be analyzing them, documenting them into the SRS document, and finally we will be managing these requirements. Now all these the process is being followed to make sure that we are finally developing a software which is meeting the expectations of the users and the stakeholders. So the main goal of our requirements engineering will be to make sure that we are meeting the user requirements and we are trying to solve the problems which are occurring in the development of the software, right? So why exactly is this requirements engineering important to us? Why do we need to gather, analyze, document it, and we have to manage and maintain these requirements? Why is it important to us? There are two main reasons why this requirements engineering is important to us. The first one is by having a proper order of collecting the requirements, it will be easy for the developers to exactly know what they have to build. Okay, the second one you have is it is going to help us to understand what are the conflicts that we get while we are gathering the requirements or while the development of the particular software in the early stage only. Okay, so by analyzing these requirements properly, by validating them, by monitoring them, we will have the clear picture as to what are the requirements that I actually have to develop. Are there any misunderstandings in it? Are there any mistakes that we have collected, and how is it going to be costlier, or how is it going to affect my project development? So because of this particular reason, requirements engineering is very important to us, right? So basically your requirements engineering process consists of three main steps. Okay, it involves three main steps. The first one you have is requirements specification. The second one you have is requirements elicitation, and the third one you have is requirements validation. So complete requirement engineering process, the process of collecting the requirements from the users as well as the stakeholders, is divided into three different parts, as you can see here: requirement specification, requirement elicitation, and requirements validation. Now these three steps, as you can see here, are again further divided into n number of steps. So let's look into what are these various n number of steps we have. So you have feasibility study, elicitation and analysis, specification, validation, documentation. So many different types of steps are there which are involved in detail inside this requirements engineering process. So let me just give you a list first. Okay, the first one you will be having is feasibility study. The next you have is requirements elicitation, requirements analysis, requirements documentation, requirements validation, and finally you will be having the requirements management. So in feasibility study, we will be talking about whether I can proceed with the development of the product or not. In requirements elicitation, once you decide to move forward with the development, you start collecting the requirements from the users and the stakeholders. In requirements analysis, whatever the requirements you have collected, you will sit and you will find out whether I have collected everything in a proper order, is there anything missing or not. Okay, once that analysis is completed, you will finally document all the requirements that you have collected, and you will validate it once again to make sure that it is properly converted into the system requirements and technical requirements that the developers and testers are actually needing. And finally, you will be managing the requirements to make sure that the requirements that are documented in this SRS are actually going in a proper flow in the project development. Okay, so these are the various steps that are involved in your requirements engineering process. Today we shall start with the first one, which is called as the feasibility study. Let's understand what exactly is this feasibility study, and we will have some depth knowledge about what is happening inside this feasibility study. Okay, so feasibility study is basically an assessment or a test that is conducted, or an ideology that is brought together to understand whether the project that the customer is requesting from me, is it possible to be achieved? Okay, will I be able to develop that project within the time and within the budget? Okay, I'll be talking about different types of, I'll consider different types of constraints, the problems, the risks, the issues that can occur, and I will come to a conclusion whether I can move forward with the development of the project or not. So it is basically an assessment to check whether the project is actually achievable by the organization or not within the time and the budget, right? So the company will ask itself few questions related to this, like it will ask itself whether this can the system be built with whatever technology my organization is actually using. Okay, will the system fit with whatever the budget is being discussed, with whether the timeline, the span in which the project has to be developed, will I be able to actually give that product in time? Okay, will this particular product that the customer is asking is actually beneficial to my organization or not? All these types of questions are being asked among themselves inside the organization to decide whether we can move forward or not. Okay, so this is called as feasibility study. Now, why exactly is this feasibility study needed for us? The first one is better planning. Okay, so before only you will, if you have an idea about the schedule, the budget and all, you will be able to move forward with the progress of the software. The next one is risk avoidance. So you will be having n number of risks, like you will have financial risk, technological risk, you will be having legal risks, you will be having operational risks. So before only in feasibility study, we will be talking about all these types of risks, and we will try to have a solution as to how to avoid these particular risks. The next one you have is decision making. Okay, so you will be involving all the different type of people who are directly or indirectly connected to your project to in this particular feasibility study. So you'll have a proper decision as to deciding whether I will be able to proceed with this product or not. Okay, because of these three main reasons, feasibility study is very important in your software development. Now let's see what are the different types of feasibility studies we have. The first feasibility study we have is technical feasibility, talking about the product that the customer is asking for. Is it suitable to be built with whatever current technology my team is using, or does my team require any training with any other new technologies or not? Okay, so if you have to think about this perspective, this is called as technical feasibility. The second one you have is operational feasibility. So here you will be talking about existing, there is one process that is going on. Okay, when I build this particular product, will it be able to properly integrate with the existing system or not? Right? So that is called as operational feasibility. The next one you have is economic feasibility. Whatever the budget or the financial matter is going on, will my particular product that I am developing justify that particular cost? That is called as economic feasibility. The next one you have is legal feasibility. The product that I am developing should not lead me to any legal issues. Okay, is it going in future, will it go to any legal issues or not? So talking in this perspective is legal feasibility. The next one you have is schedule feasibility. Will I be able to complete the product the customer is asking for in the given time period or not? This is called as schedule feasibility. Okay, so these are the different types of feasibility studies that are conducted by the organizations to decide whether the product can be developed, whether can I move forward with the development of the product or not. Okay, now let's take a very small example scenario. Let's assume that we are developing a mobile banking application for a particular bank. So what we will talk about, the first thing is technical feasibility. So we will think that whatever the IT department is there, which is using certain current technology to develop this mobile banking application, is the technology enough for them, or do I need to train them more? The second one is economic feasibility, right? So we have thought about this much of budget. Will I be exceeding this particular budget? Will I get profits or not? That is called as economic feasibility. Operational feasibility. See, now customers are habituated with certain banking system. By introducing this particular new banking application, will it be disturbing that system? If it is disturbing, then I cannot move forward. So it should be integrating properly. This is called as operational feasibility. Okay, so deciding all of this, we will think whether to move forward with the development of the particular system or not. Okay, so basically this feasibility study will help the project to pursue in a technical, financial and operational factors, right? So by doing this feasibility study in the early stage only, we will be identifying various mistakes related to the planning, the organization and all, and it will be saving not only the cost but also the time and the manpower that is being used, right? So once the feasibility study is completed, they will prepare a feasibility report which talks about to move forward or not. Once the feasibility study is completed, now we will move to the next level, which is called as elicitation and analysis, which will be discussed in the next session. Thank you.